Hello, I'm 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗆, and this is PAMcast for August 20th, 2024. We're going to give it a second here to make sure that all of the streaming things do what they are supposed to do, make sure that everybody is connected and all those kind of things, because I've done one of these before and it wasn't. So if either somebody in the comments or my minion can tell me that we are, hey, and we are. And I see that I have sound, so that's a bonus too. Sometimes I don't have sound, and it's totally my fault because I either forget to turn the mic on or have the wrong mic source selected. All right. Welcome to PAMcast. This is a monthly discussion between me, the founder of Ruffian software for TechIDManager, and existing TechIDManager partners or people who know what TechIDManager is and are interested in it, to cover the things that have happened in the last month as far as TechIDManager is concerned, and the new things we've done and what is coming for next month. So if you're here, welcome. You should know what TechIDManager is, what we do, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to cover that. I will show you. This is our agenda for today. We're going to cover who am I, a month in review, some new features, and then what we're going to talk about next time. So I kind of briefly touched on who I am, but let's do it again. I'm 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗆. You might want to listen to me as far as TechIDManager goes because I'm the CTO of the company. I kind of know what's going on. I'm also sick, so if I stop or I cough or I rub my throat, it's because I have a cold of some kind. Hopefully I will be better soon. It hurts to swallow too. Ugh. So that's why I think you should listen to me. So let's talk about the month in review. What happened at TechIDManager this month? In general, in the past month, there was CrowdStrike, which everybody knows what it is. CrowdStrike released some update, had some issue with Microsoft, a bunch of stuff didn't work. We weren't really affected. We didn't notice anything from that CrowdStrike issue. None of our infrastructure went down. We're all hosted in AWS, EC2 servers there. Everything just didn't really affect us for whatever reason because we don't use CrowdStrike directly or any of the products that use CrowdStrike internally. A few days later, though, after the CrowdStrike issue was solved, we did start seeing issues in Azure. Stuff that has run for 3 years without failing started failing partway through. So we had about a week where we went on and off and back and forth and made some server changes, made some changes on our side to try and fix what was happening inside Azure. The broad stroke, without getting into too much detail, is the function kind of runs in Azure, but then at some point where it's running gets disconnected from the internet. So it is doing things that it can't tell us about, or it's told us about things it hasn't been able to do. So there's a disconnect there. We were able to fix that and adjust for it by watching the return values on the functions and making some adjustments. So hopefully we aren't seeing that anymore. If you look at the status logs for any of the Azure functions, you will see intermittent 500 errors that have occurred. This is really technical, way more technical than anybody needs to know, but you'll see intermittent 500 errors. Those aren't a problem. Those are the indicators that something has happened in Azure, and the Azure execution engine for .NET 6 is having some sort of problem when it comes to network interaction. We're not big enough to follow up with Microsoft and get them to tell us anything about it, so we are working around it best we can. We don't think anyone is still seeing any issues from just-in-time or Azure or password rotations as far as TechIDManager is concerned. If you are, let us know. We don't believe that anybody is still seeing those issues. All right. So next on here we have new features over there. This is the boring technical stuff that's really new for this month, that occurred this month. Domain service 5.191 was released. There was a bug in domain service where it was misidentifying local machines as domains and not sending the right name to show in the tech client, so it's more difficult to log in. So to address that, there's a new domain service. It was only an issue in one version, I believe 1.4.4. 5.191 fixes it. Shouldn't have any issues. There's also some changes in the tech client that went out related to that. You can now right-click in the tech client and get a variety of different ways to send the username. I think I have those. Yeah. So let me bring this over here. If you choose any of these accounts and you right-click, you can send the username with the username, without the domain, domain/username, or username @domain. The default for send username is still machine or type of agent specific. So you can see here for domains, it's name@domain. For local machines, it's local machine/username. Those are defaults. Those are still usually correct. But if you have, we've run into some partners who have different tools they're using and require the usernames in different formats. So we added that. If there's something like that that you find could make TechIDManager more useful, let us know. We have URLs in documentation tools now. So what that is, it's an integration inside TechIDManager where you can, any of these lines, you can right click and copy the tech client link. This is then a URL that you can put, let me get some so I can show you here. So I copied that, and if I paste it, this is a URL that you can put in any documentation tool. And when you click on that with a machine that has tech client installed, it will take you to that particular line on the tech client. This will allow you to integrate the accounts that you have in any documentation tool, Hoodoo, IT Glue, anywhere you can put a URL to click. You can click that, and it will automatically open the tech client on that person's machine to that account. You can do that for managed passwords and for vault passwords, any of them. It's pretty helpful to get workflow more related to what the existing workflow is. If you are used to storing passwords in a documentation tool and you still want to be able to have people go to the documentation tool, and instead of the password being stored there in what we consider an insecure manner, you can click on the URL, it'll bring up the tech client and have that password either that's automatically rotated or stored securely in the vaults, ready for the user to use very quickly. With the injection, it's actually less clicks to use it than swapping back and forth and copying and pasting out of the documentation tool. Excuse me, my neck, my throat is killing me. All right. So next, the Entra ID agent, 5.201. And earlier this year, quite a few people who are using TechIDManager, in fact, everybody who's using any sort of function based on .NET in Azure, was sent an email that said, hey, in November 12th of 2024, .NET 6 will be deprecated out of Azure Functions, as will the in-process worker model for .NET Functions. They originally email said they were just not going to work. Microsoft has changed their stance on that, and now they will still work, but you can't add new ones. It's kind of been Microsoft's stance over the years that they will pick a day and a real dramatic statement about it, and then as that day gets closer, they will weaken or change the statement, and on that day we expect that they will change the statement completely. They've done that a couple times, specifically when it comes to Azure and the way things work inside Azure, because it's a cloud-hosted platform that they're continually monitoring and updating. You'll notice also that there's a name change when it comes to this particular agent. It used to be called TechIDManager to Azure AD, which when Ruffian Starfware started, that's what Azure was called. Now, the user management is called Entra ID. So the agent is now called TechIDManager.Entra ID. Version 5.201 is available pre-release. This means it has passed all of our initial testing, it has passed all the upgrade testing, and we are doing longer-term testing on it to make sure that it is viable. It is very, very similar. The main changes to this version, we have updated it to the isolated worker model as required by Microsoft before November 24. Updated to .NET 8.0 versus .NET 6, I believe it was before. We've updated some of the third-party libraries. We've updated TechIDManager to 5.0 standard for JSON and information exchange within our REST API. To facilitate some future features, we're now pushing options from the agents directly into the management console so people to see them. There's a little different logging that goes on, and there's better error handling to address those Azure execution issues that we saw that I talked about in early July and late July and early August that came after the CloudStrike issues. I don't know, just some supposition here. I don't know if Microsoft Azure machines were running CloudStrike or had CloudStrike issues, but there is definitely something that is happening on those machines that are running the functions that is different than it was. So we made some changes to address that. We'll see. All right. So that's really the big feature changes that have come out. The Entra ID is available pre-release now. It will be available general release, if not the end of this week, early next week. There's a real straightforward upgrade path. The name changes, but you won't. There's nowhere that it's going to be obvious other than the name of the PowerShell script that you run to install it. Kind of blowing through this because I don't have a lot of voice because I'm sick to do a bunch of sidetracking. So we're just going to blow through it. If you have any questions, put them in the chat and we'll answer those too. That's really what has changed this time. There's been a bunch of work going on in the background to do a bunch of transitions for, and a bunch of feature additions. They're coming. Next time, for this upcoming month, there will be a new mobile app. The manner in which you get the private key is changing. A lot of the visual interface for the mobile app is changing. There'll be a new version of both Android and iPhone. The iPhone one should automatically upgrade when we release it. The Android one we are going to get put in the Play Store also, and then we'll start updating it from there. This next time, update agents service. It was also here last time, if you've been around for more than a month. This is an issue that was so close. Last PAMcast, it is still so close. The CloudStrike and Azure issues really pulled the development resources off of this to address those issues pretty extensively. So this got put on the back burner because it's not something that's affecting clients. And there is a PowerShell script with every release that makes it easy to upgrade. From a business perspective, we are switching credit card processors. The credit card processor we use now has issues where it is just dropping subscriptions for people. It is not processing credit cards properly all the time, so it's a real headache on the business side, on our side, to actually make sure that you're paying for the product and you're not getting charged twice, or you're paying appropriately. Approximately 15% of our partners have not been charged in the last month to 3 months because of issues with a credit card processor. So we're switching credit card processors. That means that several of you will get catch-up billings. We might contact several of you to get the credit cards put in new places. ACH payments, we should be able to transfer over credit card processors. We should be able to transfer the information. This will be a pretty big push this month in order to make the business side of the company more successful. Really? You'll also get, we're going to be switching to QuickBooks for the credit card processor, so you'll be able to log into your QuickBooks, connect to ours, and see your past invoices, see new invoices, apply payments, change your credit card, all that stuff much easier. The existing interface inside the management console to change payment methods will be maintained. There will be probably a 1 or 2 day lag between the time you set those and when they're updated in QuickBooks, but that'll be maintained. The primary method for setting that now will be though in QuickBooks, and we will redirect you there hopefully soon. All right. So that is kind of a blow through of what the last month has looked like, what the upcoming month looks like. Sorry, I'm not feeling really up to it today. I am under the weather, but I am still here to help. If you have any questions, I don't see any questions in the comments, or do I? Yes, there does appear to be one question in the comment. What is it, Minion?
Is there anything we need to do to update the domain service?
If you are not having an issue with the domain service you have now, there's nothing that you need to do to update it. If you want to update, you can update the domain service, and if you want to, you will need to do that. You do that by going to the domain service release page. So TechIDManager.com, partner resources, releases, and you can find the domain service, top right one, 5191. And then there is a download link, and there are also the example scripts, PowerShell scripts to update it. This update script will update any existing TechIDManager installation, any domain service installation to this version. It is not required unless you had the bug that was in version 5.144 was affecting you, and it was very specifically limited to a few partners who 5.144 was the first version installed on a local machine where it was making local machine accounts. There was nothing else wrong or nothing else that really changed between the two versions. It was just an issue with determining whether the account was a local account on a local machine and 5.144 was the first version installed. Okay, so partner resources, releases, and then this PowerShell script, or you can just download and extract the zip file and run update. There's some documentation about that. Right on here, update instructions for changing versions. Any other questions? Anything else that I can answer? All right. Then I think that I'm going to say thank you for being here. We appreciate all of you. We look forward to seeing you next month. We have these three things coming, the two things, the new mobile agent and the update agent service. There are also a few other things in the works that I've not talked about here, but they are pretty exciting for us. So we hope to see you there. If you have any questions, support@techidmanager.com. Look forward to hearing from you and have a great day. I think that I'm going to go have a hot shower and get some rest because I am feeling very sick. Have a great day, y'all.